Good morning, everyone. Welcome. March 17th today. Happy St. Patrick's Day as well. Looks like we have a few more people joining as we speak. So we'll wait just another half minute or so. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome everyone to the third of four financial series made possible by Blue Mountain Community College Small Business Development Center. My name is Susan Bauer and I work with Nick Nash, our presenter today at Eastern Oregon Business Source. And we have partnered with BMCC Small Business Development Center to offer these training sessions. So we have had some fun doing that throughout this first quarter. And okay, we've got about 14 in the meeting. So Nick will, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Nick. Know that we are very happy that you're here. We want to hear from you. So after this session, if you receive a survey, please give us your input feedback. And as always, speak with your small business development advisors and let them know what you need and how you need it. And we will help SBDC in any way. Again, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. As Susan said, my name is Nick Nash, and I work with her at Eastern Oregon Business Source. If you've been to any of these sessions before, you might notice that Eric isn't here this morning. He wishes us all well on this happy St. Patrick's Day, and he left Susan and I here to run everything with the SBDC advisors in the background. At this point, I'm going to quickly introduce the SBDC advising team. So we have Jeff in Baker County. Get away from Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. And Lori and Christy in Wallowa counties. Fantastic. The SBDC offers cost-free advising to any small business. So if that is something that your small business needs, by all means, you should definitely reach out to them. They are a tremendous, tremendous resource. All right. So today we are here to talk about QuickBooks and all right. So QuickBooks, just a moment. Let me get everything balanced here the way we want it. All right. So as many of us know, because we've made it through to this third session, this is a part of a 4-session series. So the first session, which was 2 weeks ago, was Financial Essentials, where we talked at a high level about different financial reports that'll be helpful for making your business run the way that you want it to. We talked in the second session about creating those financial reports. That was last time. Today, as I suspect we all know, we're going to do an overview of QuickBooks. And then in our fourth session, which is next week to finish this off, we're going to talk about how to grow your business and find the funding to do that. So a very exciting series. I've certainly enjoyed leading all of these sessions and looking forward to the fourth session next week. And thank you all for your attendance to this point. So here is our SBDC team. You can see their general phone number and email address up there at the top of this slide. Again, if you need any advising support for your small business, they are an excellent resource in our community to reach out to. And just so that we're all aware, in case we're quickly scribbling things down, I will show this slide again at the end. So in fact, that is how we will close out. You'll have the opportunity to see it again in case you want to write something down. All right. And here is myself and the rest of the Eastern Oregon Business Source team. We are located in Pendleton, Oregon, across from the courthouse. So we live in Eastern Oregon with many of the rest of you all. And we do a strategic planning, including things like grant writing, mentorship, and fundraising support for nonprofits. We also do professional development and leadership development, and we do custom trainings just like this, both in person and online. So if any of those things sound like something that is interesting to you, by all means, reach out to Susan or I. All right. So at this point, I think that we're all becoming experts on video conferencing, but now I've said this so many times that I feel moved to say it at the beginning of sessions. I just think it's helpful to kind of go over norms. So here we go again. So of course, and I can hear that we're all fantastic at this, but it's of course good etiquette to mute yourself when you're not talking. If you are using a physical phone, which very few people are, but should you find yourself in that situation, it's good practice to mute yourself on the phone. This session is intended to be interactive, so you can unmute yourself and talk at any time, and feel free to understand that is in fact any time. This means that it's okay to interrupt. This is just a part of video conference lifestyle. We can't see each other's body language, and so something that we have to do is interrupt, and I assure you, I don't take it personally. It's also possible, if you prefer, to type into the chat if that works better for you. You can also click on the reactions button. So the reactions are across the bottom of your screen, and any one of those will alert me that you're reacting, and I will call on you. The best of them is the raise your hand button. So that's some video conferencing norms for our session. And as I said, I like to sort of start it off by trying to get some voices in the space so that we can begin on an interactive note. And the first question I'll ask is that on a scale of 1 to 10, how easy is it for you to manage your business's finances? So on the scale, I think we'll understand 1 as I just cross my fingers and hope that everything works out at the end of the month. And 10 is that I am a financial, my business is financial wizard. So you can go ahead and type into the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Where are you at? How easy is it for you to manage your business's finances? Seeing lots of things come up in chat here. Sorry about that. Let me open up my chat box. All right. So getting all kinds of excellent answers. I appreciate the interaction. We're getting some 4s, a 2, 4, 2, 3, somewhere between 3 and 4. We have a 7 or 8. Excellent, Nora. Very, very good. And some 2s and 3s and 4s. So if you find yourself in that 2, 3, 4 category, no problem at all. Also know that you're not alone. So the goal of this whole series of all 4 of the sessions is to give you the tools so that wherever you are in your sort of a business management process, that you can improve on things. And this session is no different. Our narrow goal for today is to give you the confidence to start the process of setting up QuickBooks for your business. So there are a lot of different ways that a session like this could proceed. And sort of how today's session is going to proceed is that we're going to kind of poke around in QuickBooks Online, have the opportunity to see what the screens look like, what you might expect as you're trying to set your business up there, places that you can click to find help, those kinds of things. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And again, our goal today is to give you the confidence so that you can start to use QuickBooks to manage your business's finances. And something that came up at the end of our last session, certainly we think at EOBS, and I suspect also at the Small Business Development Center, that QuickBooks is a fantastic, fantastic tool. It is generally considered the industry standard for this kind of thing. And so if you're sort of on the fence about whether or not you should kind of get into it and figure it out, certainly my suggestion is that you do. Because a lot of times once you can get the whole thing set up and moving, you probably wonder how you spent so much time without it. So in any case, moving on to our plan for today. So we're going to talk about QuickBooks Desktop versus QuickBooks Online, and sort of consider why and when we might use one or the other. Then we're going to take a look at the QuickBooks website and figure out how to access each of these versions of QuickBooks or any of the versions that we might be interested in using. And we're going to spend most of the time investigating the basic functionality of QuickBooks Online. All right. And again, the hope for today is that this will make you comfortable with getting into QuickBooks, and you can schedule some time with an Sbdc advisor to help figure out the best way to get everything set up to work flawlessly. All right. So maybe a distinction that many of you didn't even realize existed. There are a couple of different versions of QuickBooks. So there is QuickBooks Desktop and there is QuickBooks Online. All right. So what is QuickBooks Desktop? So QuickBooks Desktop is a program that you buy. And when you buy it, you own the software. It's yours. You can install it on a computer. For those of us who are probably my age and older, this, I suppose, is how we generally think and thought about software. It's something that you buy, you install on your computer, and it's yours. This is how QuickBooks Desktop works. The software is generally designed to work on a single computer per software license. So you install it on the computer that you use to do your accounts on, and that is where it lives. You don't need to have internet access to use QuickBooks Desktop. So if that is a concern for you, certainly it can be sometimes in our rural areas. If that's something that matters, that is something helpful to know. You can set up unlimited businesses on your copy of QuickBooks Desktop. So that might be valuable. As we'll see for QuickBooks Online, you need sort of a separate, I don't know if account is the right word to use, but a separate instance for each of your businesses. And it can be more complex and have a slightly higher learning curve simply because it has more features. They suggest that it's a good idea to upgrade your copy of QuickBooks Desktop every 3 years or so. So this can out where you want to be with pacing. And one thing that you really want to make sure of if you're using QuickBooks Desktop is that you have a good backup system. So as we'll see in a moment, QuickBooks Online automatically backs up when you're using it, but QuickBooks Desktop, you're responsible for backing it up. So whatever your backup scheme is, you want to make sure that it includes your QuickBooks files if you're using QuickBooks Desktop. All right, now QuickBooks Online. So as we'll see, QuickBooks Online requires a monthly subscription cost depending on your needs and how much you need it to do. It's cloud-based, and from this, it requires the internet to access it, but it can be accessed from anywhere on any computer. You use a web portal and you sign in. So you can manage your business's finances on any computer. It can integrate with various platforms using a wide variety of apps, something that we'll talk about near the end of our session today. And you can access your accounts using your cell phone app, which is pretty cool. And we'll talk about this a little bit today, but you can actually use the QuickBooks app to just snap pictures of your account documents, receipts, invoices, and so on, and it will import it into the system. So that's pretty cool. And if having things available immediately on your phone is something that is valuable to you, QuickBooks Online can do this. I suppose it could instant, depending on how much you like access. And as I mentioned, QuickBooks Online automatically backs itself up, which can be very helpful. All right, so how do I choose which one it is that I need? Well, I think the first thing that I would suggest is that if you work with a financial person, whether it's a bookkeeper or your tax professional or anybody else, I think a good place to start is to kind of check in with them and see if they have any preferences. This being said, QuickBooks Online has developed very quickly over the last few years to gain a tremendous amount of functionality that it didn't have previously. So if the people who help you with your accounts or your tax professional tends towards being a little bit old school, it's entirely possible that they don't like QuickBooks Online. And you may need to ask them when the last time was they looked at it, because its functionality has improved significantly over the last couple of years. You might also ask yourself, well, how do I want to access my accounts? Am I going to have one computer that's set up that's going to be our accounting computer, and I want to be careful to only have one place where all of these things happen in my business? If that's your situation, maybe QuickBooks Desktop is better, although QuickBooks Online could certainly still work for that. I think that if you're just sort of starting out and you're really unsure and you don't even know if you want to use QuickBooks, you just kind of want to try it out, QuickBooks Online is fantastic for this, as we're going to see in just a moment. QuickBooks Online has, it's very easily accessible. It's pretty cheap when you first start out. And in fact, there are even a couple of free options to get you going. So there's some sort of considerations when you're trying to decide how it is that you want to choose. And here I'll pause and ask if there's any questions about any of that.
Nick, I have a comment. This is Lori, and one of my decision makers when I ask clients is, are you doing your own payroll? If you are doing your own manual payroll where you're actually doing the figuring, and there's ways to put your formulas in there, that makes a difference. QuickBooks Online does not offer manual payroll. I work for someone that's 2 employees and monthly payroll, so I do those myself. The other thing is that there's lots of different, I'm sure you'll get into this, other apps that can connect with either the desktop or the online version. And so you can purchase like your payroll program from somewhere else, because QuickBooks is pretty expensive in the realm of things.
Yes.
My comment, my 2 cents.
No, I certainly appreciate that feedback.
Also, there's a difference between versions. So you can get a pro version with desktop. So you want to make sure you're looking at which version you need. Some of the big box stores, they're a little bit less expensive to download versus going directly to the site. I've experienced that myself.
Yes. Yeah, that also back. My understanding is a lot of times you can, for example, find copies of the desktop version at Costco for a little bit of a reduced price. Certainly something to look out for. And as Lori is saying, I think it is very important to figure out what fits your needs the best. and get that. There is very much a sense in which after the session today, you may think that I am a QuickBooks evangelist, and I certainly don't want that to be the sense. My function today is to talk about QuickBooks and get excited about it. That being said, very much, and as you dig into QuickBooks, you will discover this. QuickBooks is a business, and they want to sell you everything they have to sell you. And I thank you for sort of framing it this way, Lori. I think it's an excellent place to start. You kind of need to know that going in. QuickBooks can definitely help you. QuickBooks may or may not be your friend. QuickBooks will try to sell you everything that they can.
Nick, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Athena.
I bought the good one, from QuickBooks, and it was pretty expensive, and it's a desktop model, and I really love it. But every now and then they keep sending me these notifications and says, do you want to set up your payroll now? Do you want to set it up now? And they're behaving as if I have to do it online. And either I don't know whether I should respond or kill it, or whether there's some place in the desktop for payroll that I'm not finding.
Yeah, so, and this is what Lori was just speaking to. So if you are happy with the way that you handle your payroll now, using QuickBooks in the way that you do, you can absolutely ignore all of those prompts from QuickBooks. What they're trying to do is sell you their service. Right?
I guess
and
the reason I had to ask the question is because we've never done our payroll on the regular QuickBooks, and I didn't know if it was inherent in the desktop model and I haven't found it, or if part of the desktop model is being forced to go online. But I'm hearing it's not, so I'll just try to kill the notification.
Yeah. My best advice is that if you are happy with the way things are functioning with your QuickBooks, you can sort of ignore these promptings and see them as QuickBooks trying to get you further into their system, and maybe you don't want that, and if you don't, that is okay. And we see in the chat, Nora says that she's been hesitant to try QuickBooks due to the expense, but she knows that a lot of people like it and feel that it saves them time and accuracy. I certainly think that there is a lot to be said for that. And then again, Lori added that there's some free online programs. She refers clients to try Wave app. It's free, and you can purchase additional features as you need them. Yeah, I think so. And I guess I would also just say here, maybe another awesome thing that today's presentation can encourage is just to see what else is out there, right? If QuickBooks doesn't seem like it will work for you, or it seems a little bit too expensive for your needs or your situation, by all means, you can do a little bit of digging around, or you can set up an appointment with an Sbdc advisor. Certainly, I think the better of those options, and they can help you figure out what would work best for your business. All right.
Nick, I would like to jump in here, everyone. I am a small business owner as well. I use QuickBooks. I have not always. But one of the things that this session reminds me about is it's not as much the program or the software that we're using. It's more about, am I keeping accurate and timely records? And am I following the good guidance of my advisors and my CPA in balancing my accounts every month and keeping receipts and documentation. It's most important to know how to keep track of your books and that you're doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. And I think that that's right. Ultimately, where we're trying to get to is better control of our businesses' finances. All right. So before I move on, are there any other questions or comments. Yeah, so Sydney said that she just tried the accounting software. Man, accounting with a K, I think, AkauNting, and it seemed pretty good for her, and it's free. So again, also a variety of free options out there, as there often is, depending on what your needs are. So again, what's important is that you figure out what your needs are, you figure out the best way to meet those needs. If it's QuickBooks, that's awesome. If it's something else, that's also awesome. So there we go. Any other questions or comments before we move on? Okay. So we're going to start where we often do with these kinds of sessions. So this is the QuickBooks website. It's at quickbooks.intuit.com. And from here, if we click on the plans and pricing button, we'll see an overview of their basic plans. So we see here what we have. We're going to scroll down a little bit just so that we have a clearer image of what they each offer. So we can see how these lists work. They start with the things that each of them offer. And then as you go right, of course, the new things that next and up offers are identified in black. So we can do things like track our income and expenses, of course, invoice and accept payments, run general reports, track mileage if that matters, manage cash flow, manage our 1099s, and it goes up as we go across. There's more users. You can manage and pay bills or track time, track your inventory if you're in plus, track and project profitability, all the way up to advanced, where you have things like on-demand online trainings, automated workflow, the ability to restore company data, and so on and so forth. And something I'll note about the pricing here, this is their introductory pricing. So if you pay for this for the first 3 months, it's $12.50. And then after that, it goes up to $25. So that's something you want to keep in mind. After the first 3 months, it is a $25 cost. And I would say that if you're interested in trying this, I would poke around a little bit, because there are affiliate links for all kinds of people to get the whole first year at 50% off. So kind of know that those are out there. And if this is something you're going to look into, it might be worth looking out for one of those to even save a little bit more. But the idea here is that ultimately, once you get going after the introductory prices, the prices are the ones that are crossed out there. So we can kind of see where we're at as far as prices and things that they offer. And we see the list here of all of the different things, and these are updated and change around. If we scroll down a little bit more, there is this Freelancer option, which is an even more stripped down version that's designed for people who are doing kind of freelance things. And so that's a good thing to know about. And this one, in my research into it, it looks like it can actually function over the top of your personal finances. So certainly we encourage you not to mix your personal finances and your business's finances, but the freelance version can work in that circumstance. So if we scroll down even a little further from this homepage, this is how we access the desktop versions if we want to buy them directly from QuickBooks. And as we heard from Lori earlier, in the same way that you can find affiliate codes for the online versions at various places, for example, on YouTube, on the internet, you can also find cheaper versions of these desktop versions of QuickBooks. I mean, other places such as Costco or other places that sell these kinds of things. In any case, this is the area of the website where you download those directly. And there are a variety of different versions of QuickBooks Desktop. So you want to make sure that you do a little bit of research or talk to your SBDC advisor to figure out which one is best for you. To kind of introduce you to the nomenclature a little bit, there's QuickBooks Desktop Pro, QuickBooks Desktop Premier, and QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise. And that's sort of the spectrum from least complex to most complex. So Pro is the least complex, which is probably still more than complex enough. Premier is somewhere in the middle, and Enterprise is for large businesses, generally speaking. All right. And once, excuse me, this is what happens if we click on the QuickBooks Desktop Pro link. We can scroll down a little bit and we can see some of the pricing and some of the options there. Again, it's something that's worth sort of looking into, determining what your use case is, and then identifying what the best use for that is. All right. So if we go back to our options, as we see here at the top, if we buy it now, we get 50% off for 3 months. You can also click on this little button and you get a free 30-day trial. So if you just want to sort of try it out and see how it might work, you can be free to do so for 30 days. So, you know, if that's a useful feature for you, it certainly was helpful for the presentation today. And we're going to focus just on the simple start because my guess is that that is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of what would be most useful for all of us. Certainly, if I'm wrong about that, by all means, we can adjust. As has been mentioned, QuickBooks likes to give you all of the upgrades you can possibly handle. So your next option is going to be to choose whether or not you want to add payroll. As Lori mentioned, in QuickBooks Online, doing payroll manually is not really something that it does. So that's something to know. And you can add this functionality if you want. We're going to continue without payroll just to keep things more straightforward today. And then here is our checkout tab. We'll of course click on that. And then it will allow us to create our Intuit account. And we'll do that by, of course, entering this information. It is important to enter your mobile number because they use two-step authentication. So every time you log in from a new computer, it will either email you or send you a text message so that you can verify that it is in fact you. All right. So sort of a flurry of information, a lot of red arrows. I'm going to pause and ask if there's any questions or comments.
Payroll, I can suggest there's one called Patriot Software. They connect into QuickBooks, I believe either version, Desktop Pro or Desktop or Online. There's Gusto. There's some others that might be more user-friendly and less expensive, depending on how many employees you have, if they're seasonal, if they're yeah, real small. I have a lot of clients, they might have seasonal employees, 1 or 2, that's it. So those are other options to doing payroll besides doing it yourself. Many of the tax professionals will teach you how to do your own payroll. I can assist with that, but yeah, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Lori. We appreciate that. Yeah. Are there any other questions or comments about where we're at?
What was the name of that software she just said?
Oh,
Uh,
go ahead,
Pa-
Lori.
Patriot software, there's Gusto, and there's those are mainly for payroll. They will assist you in payroll. There's others out there as well. The Wave app, that one is like it would be similar to QuickBooks Online, and they offer a payroll feature that you can purchase if you choose that. They also have professional tax people that will assist you setting up your accounts if you choose to go that route.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anything else? Oh, and it was also just put in the chat. So if you want to go take a peek there, it is there. All right. So we've got our account set up and we're signed in, and then it will work us through sort of a setup wizard to help get things set up for whatever kind of business it is that we are using. So we'll use our example from last time, Lee's Place Restaurant. All right. And then we can type in what we are, what type of business we're working with here. So we'll see full service restaurants. Okay. Click next again. Then it's going to ask us what kind of business is this, right? Is it a sole proprietorship, a partnership, corporation, nonprofit organization? So we'll choose whatever is appropriate. And of course, click next. Then does your business make money? Was always an interesting question. Only a couple of options here. Do you provide service? Do you sell products? Or do you do something else? In this case, we're going to pick sell products. And then next, an owner, a partnership, employees, a bank or accountant. Who is it? Excuse me, what is it that's your role here? We're going to pick owner or partner. Does someone help you? This is an interesting feature. So you can give your bookkeeper or your tax professionals access to your QuickBooks. Certainly check in with them before you do this. But in any case, here is how one of the ways you can. We're going to say no today. Proceed. Who is it that might? And again, it will try to offer you payroll. Okay, so, and we're going to say no and go on. I just received a message that my internet is unstable. So certainly if I start cutting out, by all means, yell at me and we will try to fix that. All right. What do you want to do today? Do you want to set up QuickBooks right away, or do you want to explore it a little bit? Certainly, this is up to you. I think it could be very interesting to explore it if that is what you want to try out. What we're going to do is we are going to set it up to use it right away. And this is an interesting feature. It will link directly to your business bank accounts. In fact, it very, very, very much wants to do this. And a lot of the functionality is sort of based around that. So know that if you're uncomfortable with that for whatever reason in the online version, certainly the desktop version is a little bit less pushy about this. But if you're uncomfortable with that for whatever reason, some amount of the functionality is wrapped up in this. Okay, I see that I'm having a little bit of lag. I am sorry about that, and I will try to adjust accordingly and a little bit slower. I apologize. We made it this far without any of these problems. All right, so to set up next, we're going to say invoice customers. how do you track your receipts? This is an interesting feature. It'll allow you to identify if you use paper receipts, if you save your receipts digitally, or if you're in the situation where you don't save receipts at all. We're going to say that we save paper receipts. We're going to click on next, and it will tell us that we can download the phone app if we want. I took this opportunity. It is pretty neat. This will allow you, as we see in the picture there, to download receipts by clicking pictures of them. So pretty cool. All right. It'll let you pick the other things that you want to set up. We're going to pick all of these, click done, and it's going to welcome us to QuickBooks. So there's a couple of different ways to view this. You can click on the Get Things Done tab or the Business Overview tab. We are going to spend most of our time in the Business Overview tab, but certainly if the Workflow tab is more pleasing to you, by all means, that will help you accomplish the same things. This is what the Business Overview tab looks like. There are a bunch of things going on this page, and I will talk through them. If you want to add your logo, you can certainly click here and do that. You can also see your cash flow, so you can see the money going in and the money going out. This, of course, is just a sample, but once the information is in QuickBooks, it will give you up-to-date versions of this. It will list all of your bank accounts at a glance, which is pretty cool. You can see your sales. And here it's set for the last 30 days, but that is adjustable. So you can change it to the day, by the week, by the month, by the year, and a variety of other options. Profit and loss, again, by a variety of different times. Expenses, and what the expenses are. That is what the different colors are. And over whatever period of time is helpful for you, as well as invoices that are paid and unpaid, and so on. This is also a neat feature should you find yourself in a public place. If you click on the privacy button, the numbers go away, so people can't see these overviews. All right. If you click on the transactions button, we'll see the banking tab here. If we click on that, this is another way to get your account information in. So again, you can connect your account. If you don't want to do that, you can also click on the Upload Transactions button, and this will allow you to upload an Excel document from your bank with that information in it. One benefit of connecting your account is that it is much quicker in how quickly it accesses the information. If you're uploading the transactions, they won't be in there, obviously, until you upload them. All right. There are also lots of helpful links along the way. This takes us to a pretty helpful video that shows you how to link it to your bank accounts. And there are also a bunch of resources down here. All right. If we move on to the expenses tab, we can see this will allow us to input various expenses. We can again connect it to our bank account. We can see how this works by clicking on the video there. A couple more tips and resources down here. Or we can add expenses manually. If we do this, we'll be met with the expense pane. This allows us to identify where the money is going, to who it is we're paying. I mean, we can see here a few different options, some that we have entered. And if you want to add new options, you of course click on the Add New. You can identify which account the money is coming out of, when the payment is due, how it is that you would like to pay, a reference number, the category that it is in, a description, the amount, of course. You can add lines or clear them. There's a memo and an attachment, so you can attach any original document to this. And then when you're done, you can click Save. All right. The Expenses tab has a couple of options. There's Expenses and Vendors. We'll talk about vendors now. So this is the vendor overview page. You can see any of your bills that are overdue, any that are open, and any that have been paid in the last 30 days. You can see your vendors or those that you do business down here, including their contact information, any open balances. All right, we've got that there. Can prepare 1099s. And if vendor tab here, it opens up the vendor information pane where you can add this information. And we see all of the details of our vendor there. And you can save it when you're done. And those go into this vendor list here. So you can choose from them if you use them regularly. You could also click on the Create Expense button directly from the vendor pane, and we are met with the Expense tab again. All right. I'm going to pause and ask if there's any questions. And I'm also going to ask ask Susan if the connection is okay or if I am still choppy. Have things improved, Susan? I see you shaking your head. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. It's, I suppose, the world we live in. I'm glad it seems to be working again. Questions or comments, things about your experience or?
Nick, when you were setting up the
Yes.
QuickBooks and it asked for our business structure, I did not see LLC on that list. Which option would you suggest us choose?
So I think that, yeah, I am not sure. Do any of the Sbdc advisors have input about that?
I think it had something about other. And also, yeah, I think it might be an other. I did see an other. I thought I saw that.
There was something below that said something similar to that. I just was surprised that LLC
Yes,
wasn't on there.
LLC
That's
is
a very
pretty.
common.
Yes, yes. I was going to pipe up about chart of accounts versus categories. So a lot of people get confused of that. So your accounts, your bank accounts, your expense accounts, your income accounts, your liability accounts, your I'm trying to blank on the other one, but those sometimes they use the words interchangeably, and that can be confusing when you're first getting exposure to this type of software. We're used to maybe ledgers. A lot of clients use the paper, and think of those as your chart of accounts for your income expense. Also with vendors, I find that you don't have to set up a vendor. It's sometimes easier if you do. Then they're always there. You can see what your bills are to them, but you don't have to do that. Just depends on the size of your business. That's what we see in Wave app. It has the same thing, very similar to all of these things that Nick is explaining.
I wanted to comment too, Nick. It all depends on what version you're having of QuickBooks to have that LLC option. I know I've set it up where it has the option and where you have to put in the other. So.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff and Lori. We appreciate the input. Are there any other questions here? Okay. Yeah, we see Barbara that LLC is a tax designation and not a business structure. She suggests that maybe it's sole proprietor. I'm an LLC and my account has been set up as a sole proprietor. So there we go. All right. So from our board, We can now look at the Sales tab. The Sales tab has a number of options. We're going to click on Overview, and we can see the overview here. It includes a variety of ways that we can get people to pay us. We can set up online and in-person payments, get paid from anywhere, and send invoices to your customers to pay online. If we scroll down a little bit, we can sort of see some of the functionality. We can see the invoices and shortcuts to various things that QuickBooks can help us do. Notice that this tab is the same here as this here. Just something to keep in mind as we're navigating this. We can click on All Sales, and we see an overview of our transactions that are upcoming, the estimates, overdue, anything that's open, anything that's paid in the last 30 days, and they will appear in this list as we proceed. You can import transactions. You can also go to new transactions. We see this drop down, and if we click on invoices, there's invoice on this list. You can also click on it up here, and we can click on the Create Invoice button. So I'm not sure why it's in that funny spot, just something with the web page that day. And this is our Invoice tab. So we can see, we can select our customer, our customer's email. If we have online payments set up, that can be run through here. Billing address, of course, the terms of payment, the invoice date, the date that it's due, an invoice number if appropriate, and then our any message that we want on this statement. Didn't quite get it down there, but there's also an attachments button, and you can save. And you can also, if you click here, choose what you want it to do. So do you want it to save and send out the invoice? Do you want it to save and close? Do you want it to save and go to a new invoice? So if you're doing all your invoicing at once, you might pick that. All right, back to our pane. If we click on cash flow, we see this overview of our cash flow. It will show us our money in, where it's coming from, the money that's going out, where it's going, and will allow us to do projections in certain circumstances. Some other options, as we've seen, payroll, we can set this up if we want. This is now the third time that we've seen that. Some other options that may or may not be helpful depending on what your taxes, mileage, account, and apps. We'll quickly look at apps. This is what allows you to connect QuickBooks to other things. We heard Lori talking about this a moment ago. You can search for the app if you know, or the category, or the name of the thing that you're looking for. You can also browse by the category here to see all of the apps that work in the category that you're thinking about. We can scroll down, and there's just pages of apps here. So we see different kinds of things. You can sync it with your Shopify, Stripe, Square, Amazon, eBay, and different kinds of apps that will be helpful depending on what it is that we're up to. So we're getting a little tight on time. Pause quickly and ask if there are any.
Sure, Nick, it's Susan. I'd like to interject. If we can go back to the screen that you previously had there with the tabs down the left-hand side and you were walking us through, I'd like to draw everyone's attention to the one that says reports. And Nick, you probably have this coming, but we know we're getting short on time. If we click on this reports, not payroll, we click on the reports button there, it will amazingly give you options to do all the statements that we've talked about in the series. At the click of a button, it will generate a balance sheet. It will do income statement, cash flow projections. The other really cool thing is it will allow you to compare periods like years, or how am I doing this quarter versus last. Do spend some time with that report. As a small business owner, I found that I was spinning my wheels and a lot of time and energy trying to create them myself. So when you use a program like this, at the click of a button, a report can be generated.
Yeah, thank you, Susan, for the fantastic transition. Exactly where we're going next. So we've obviously spent a lot of time in our sessions talking about reports, and QuickBooks is the master of reports for you. As Susan said, it covers all kinds of things. We see it has our favorite tabs here at the top with our balance sheet identified, but we also see balance sheet comparison. One of the things Susan was talking about, profit and loss as percent of total income, profit and loss year to date, profit and loss by customer, profit and loss by month, all kinds of things. We can see, we can generate reports of who owes us by various options, different sales and customer reports, deposit details, sales and products by service summary, so on. We can look at our employee contact list, expenses by vendors, and then all kinds of different things for your accountant. And just sort of a quick overview about what some of these reports might look like. This is a basic balance sheet that this is what the reports look like when they come out. Very clean, very standardized, excellent. We see all of our items listed there just as we would want them to be. And this is what a very simple profit and loss might look like. So very clean and very straightforward. And I think one of the tremendously the QuickBooks can do for us at a touch of a button. Okay, so we're going to just quickly jump to our conclusion screen here. I'm going to certainly open it up to see if there's any questions. And we see, are we going to offer a session on how to read and interpret reports, balance sheets, and so on? Our next session is going to certainly touch on this information. I don't know that we will focus on those things very narrowly. But certainly our next session is going to involve using the outcomes of these reports so that you can figure out how best to grow your business. So I'm just going to pause and open it up for questions or comments. Apologize about the lagging today. Not awesome. But in any case, questions or concerns or yes. And our sessions for 1 and 2 are on the Sbdc, BMCC Sbdc YouTube page. So those are worth checking out as well.
This session, everyone, was recorded also. So give us about a week and it too will be uploaded on the Sbdc YouTube option. So you can go back and review this at another time as you can the other sessions, 1 through 2. And there are 4 marketing sessions on there that cover some pretty neat things about marketing, advertising, and maximizing social media. For those of you who may not have been with us at that time, those are available on YouTube.
So the easiest way to find the Sbdc YouTube page is actually to go to the BMCC Sbdc Facebook page, search through a few of their posts, and whenever the new videos go live, I believe that Eric posts them there. So you can also find it by searching on YouTube, although it's a little bit more, a little trickier just because there are so many Sbdcs. So
Barbara wants, she can email me and I can send her a link.
Excellent. Yes, very good. You can reach out to Jeff as well. All right. Will I post a link on chat? Yes, I will. I will.
I tried to do that, but when I go to my internet, this computer brand is Lenovo, and this Lenovo brand comes up right where I would create a new window. So I am unable. I did try to go to Facebook and get the link. Sorry.
Awesome. I
Yeah,
will.
any of us can
We'll
help
try
any
to-
of you with any of these things. So reach out to us.
Yes, yes, yes. And again, reach out to the SBDC advisors. They are a fantastic resource. I appreciate all of your time and attention today. I will certainly leave the mic and chat open. I'll be looking for that link to see if I can get it posted in the next few seconds. Otherwise, I hope that you all have a good afternoon, and I hope we see you all next Wednesday.
Great day, everyone.